Welcome to the Dental Implant Practices Podcast, where each episode will explore how to integrate dental implants into your practice and into bone, with your host, Dr. Philip Gordon.
Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dental Implant Practices Podcast. I'm your host, Philip Gordon, and today I am here at the Zest Dental Solutions headquarters in Carlsbad, California, and I've got Tom Stratten with me and David Payner. Guys, thanks for being with me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Okay. I am going to hand over the mic to Tom. He is the president and CEO, and I want, Tom, you to give me just a little brief background about your kind of work history, and then kind of bring me up to speed about what you do within Zest Dental Solutions, and maybe how you and David have a long working history together.
So I've been in the industry about 26 years and started as a sales rep in the Midwest. So I worked my way through different roles within the industry, mostly focused on commercial operations until I took over as general manager of Dentsply's implant division back in 2002. Right now, my focus at Zest is we really are working to expand the different clinical procedures that are available to doctors to meet the needs that they have. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But it's really making sure that the doctors that are looking at partial or full arch solutions understand what Zest offers, and they know how to get to our products.
So you've got over 20 years experience in the implant industry. You're the president and CEO of Zest Dental Solutions, and you've got David Payner here. You are the Chief Strategy Officer, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Tell me a little about what that means as far as what you get to do on a day-to-day basis, because you seem like you wear a lot of hats and you have a lot of ideas, but I don't actually know what you do on a day-to-day basis. So kind of, what are you doing here?
I love that question because honestly, I'm not sure what that title means either. So at the end of the day, I joined the team with Tom because Zest has an amazing legacy. And so what we do together is that we understand how we are going to keep Zest progressing and innovating to help doctors treat patients better over the long term. And so that's strategy. It just so happens that I also work with the marketing team, and we work with the sales team to make sure that doctors are aware and understand how to leverage the products that we manufacture.
Well, I think everybody knows about the Zest company and locators, but what I have come to realize, and maybe what you guys are working on now, is maybe we don't know enough about what Zest is up to nowadays, and what the future commitment to the field of implantology and patient solutions you guys are providing. So I guess in your words, or in your frame, what is the dental community, or what do dentists, or what do people need to know about Zest from internally that you want them to know about? If you could speak with them and tell them where we're at and where we're going, what would you like to share with them?
Well, first off, I would think that literally most, if not all, dentists that are practicing in implant dentistry do know locator. It is the gold standard for how dentists treat patients with dentures. However, I don't believe that most dentists know that Zest is the only manufacturer of locator. We are the originator. We are the innovator of this product. And so no matter whom they work with, or who they work with, rather, which implant system they work with, they're always going to be able to use the locator, Zest locator, that we manufacture. And so there's a significant brand awareness of locator. Doctors aren't aware that Zest is the only manufacturer of that.
Yeah, because originally everything was through a manufacturer. So you'd buy an implant, maybe you'd buy it through Nobel, or now I place the Han implant, I'd buy it through Glidewell, and I would buy my Zest products through Glidewell. And so there may be some confusion about, where's it coming from? And of course, nowadays you can buy direct. I can buy direct from your website and all that. So I guess the rebranding of the company is, yes, we are the original makers. We created the space, we own the space, and now we're improving upon the space.
That's exactly
to fit
right.
the current needs and demands of the patients and the doctors.
That's exactly right. I mean, we are, as you said, the originator, the innovator. We are the overwhelming market leader in what we do. And we have a great relationship with our implant manufacturing partners. We support 100 of implant manufacturers and almost 300 implant connections. And it's a great relationship. It's something that allowed us to grow, quite frankly, is the fact that the implant companies were coming to us, asking for us to make the product for them, and for their doctors. And so that's been a wonderful relationship and a partnership that we've had over the last 20 years with the locator system. It is true as well that many doctors also buy directly, and we're happy to support them, and we want to support them however they want to buy. Ultimately, the great thing about it is whoever the doctor works with, whichever implant system they work with, and as you know, doctors will transition over time to different implant systems, but they still own the patient. And regardless of which implant system they're working with, they still have Zest Locator to support them.
And Zest, more now than ever, is not just a locator-only solution. So we also have other products available. You guys have merged or acquired a Danville. You're also putting out other things in the market. So the innovation isn't just, hey, we're going to stop with this and let's see how many locators we can put in people's mouths. It's how are we expanding vertically and horizontally to solve problems for patients, to help dentists give them the tools they need for success. Is that right?
No, that's absolutely right. And so we do have a dental materials and equipment business. We did acquire Danville in 2016 to help support, first off, the implant workflow. So there are many dental materials and equipment that supports that besides the locator. We acquired that to vertically integrate that. However, we are continuing to look to the future. As we know, digital dentistry is continuing to gain acceptance in there. We are partnering with the scanning companies, the treatment planning companies, software, and the digital 3D printed denture companies to make sure that we are fully integrated and ingrained in the digital workflow as well. Yeah. So however a doctor wants to treat a patient, they're able to work with us.
Yeah. So whatever that treatment flow works, as it evolves, being on the front end of that evolution, I think is important. So I guess, Tom, talking back with you, we're looking at clinical solutions now as far as, how do we help patients? How do we help you guys maybe looking at how do you help doctors treat patients? The need is so overwhelming nowadays in our population with polypharmacy. Everyone's on a bunch of medications. We're losing teeth at a high number rate. We've got elderly patients losing teeth. We have young patients who are losing teeth to disease or other issues. What are we doing about that to get more patients care now? What are we? How are we going to help people get more care that they need?
I'm glad you asked. So a couple things. First of all, one of the core values we have as a company and all the way up through the management team is we need to be where the action is. So what you'll find about this team here at Zest is we are at the trade shows. We are not only meeting with our partners, but we're meeting one-on-one with doctors, and we're going to the education courses. I know just coming up at the ADA, we have multiple live surgery and programs going on in San Francisco, and both David and I are booked to sit in on all of those lectures. So we find out not only how our products work, but what other products are important to treating patients. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we really believe that there needs to be a staging process that will allow patients to say yes to the standard of care that's important. So, for instance, we know that about 9 out of every 10 patients that are pre-edentulous and about to become edentulous are saying no to implant therapy. They're either afraid of the screw going into the mouth or they're afraid of the cost. And so what we've done is we've looked at our product portfolio and we have this wonderful solution called Locator Root. It's the same locator attachment that goes into the root of the tooth. So if a patient is pre-edentulous and losing a couple of teeth, We're FDA cleared to use the root attachment for a bridge or a partial. If they're fully edentulous for the lower, and the doctor can save 2 teeth, the canines or the first molars, they can use the locator root. Now, we believe that this is a staging process because we know that if all of the teeth are compromised and they use the root locator, that the root eventually will fail. But the beauty is to the patient and to the doctor is they can use the same denture. They can place either one of our low-D implants or any implant out in the industry into a site if the root fails. They can use the same denture, and then the patient can continue to have that best-in-class, that gold standard locator attachment solution. So the other thing we're doing is we're making sure that we evolve with our locator product. So within our standard traditional locator, we have the locator root, the low-D implant, and the locator abutment. But we've also expanded to the locator RTX, that's still a removable, but helps with angulation, and then the locator FTX, which is our fixed solution.
Yeah, it's interesting when we think about edentulous populations. I think, there's such a need for that, and I look at that as the population is a bell curve, and there's 10% that will never get implants, okay, and there might be another 10% that will only take full arch fixed, all on 6, porcelain, the best of the best. But then there's that 80% in the middle that, maybe they can afford it if they understood the need or desire, or they could come up with the money if they understood the significant impact it would have on their life, or maybe they have the money and they're not sure if they want to do it. But I look at those people as those are the people we need to be doing more overdenture cases on. Those are the people we need to be doing more removable dentures, because what happens is when we take those teeth out, we're taking them down an emotional, almost taking them to a different class level down, that they're going to have this emotional burden they carry because they're not feeling the low level of care has to be higher in this country. Like, the lowest bar we can set needs to be a 2-implant overdenture. The standard of care has to be that nowadays with the technology and the resources we have. So how do we get more people into that? And it's some people look at it as a funnel and say, well, if you have 10-to-1 convert, we just need more numbers. We need to add more zeros behind it. And you and I were talking, I think we need to close the ratio better. I don't think, I don't need more than 10 patients, but I need to convert more than one of them. I need to be converting 7 or 8 of those to overdentures. How do we do that? I guess, David, let's talk with you about that. How do we get that better connected? Because the disability that people are carrying with wearing dentures and losing part of themselves, and the emotional attachment, and the social state of mind and all that, we can't quantify that until that patient's already there, and then sometimes it's too late. So how do we help people with that? How is Zest helping doctors with those solutions, and how do we, as a community, as a dental implant community, make that a better process?
I appreciate you bringing up the bell curve, because the reality of it is the statistics are overwhelming. The amount of patients that are either fully edentulous or about to become fully edentulous is staggering. And the reality of it is there are patients that will want and have the willingness to pay for a fixed solution, which, by the way, I think we can all agree we would want that. Yeah. We want that. However, unfortunately, there is a much larger population that can't get there. They may even want to get there, but they just physically can't. Their home doesn't cost as much as what that procedure would be. However, we know that the reality of that is that the denture, which has such an emotional impact for them, as we discussed earlier, which is actually quite amazing, actually, when you talk about how it does make the patient feel. By going down, if I lose my teeth, now I have lost something real. And they don't know it. They don't know it until it occurs. And that patient population is huge. Every dentist in America has those patients in their practice. Mm-hmm. And when we want to help them not get to that level, And it is that gap that you mentioned earlier is that how do we help them quantify that? I mean, how do they really realize the loss that's going to happen to them emotionally by going all the way down to losing their teeth and having that denture and the performance of that denture and the quality of life that they have from that? And so at the end of the day, Zest wants to help people not get to that level. And we want to be able to partner with dentists so that they can realize that they have a huge patient population that needs this. And that's kind of what Tom was talking about. The locator route helps them, because at the end of the day, whether it's a fixed partial or it's a bridge or they're about to go down that path that we know, I think we talked earlier about, that there's an iceberg coming, right? They will eventually lose their teeth. But how do we help them understand that they don't want to go there? We don't want them to go to the denture only solution, and Root helps them do that. The next part of that is helping them with an implant. We want them to get to the implant area, and we do have the Lodi, which is a fantastic solution for them that's affordable for the patients, and or the traditional implant area. And so I think the demographics are huge. At the end of the day, there are patients that can't get to the fixed. There are patients that can't afford implants, and there are patients that don't realize that they want to get to that retained aspect.
Yeah. Tom, you want to follow up on that as well?
So I do want to say, first of all, aspirationally, we believe as an organization that patients in the end don't want to have to change a thing. And what I mean by that, while they are pre-edentulous or about to become fully edentulous for a reason, what they don't want to change is their lifestyle. So they want to eat the foods that are important to them. They want to have the passion that is absolutely important to them, but they also want the confidence that they need. And we as an organization have taken the stance is we want to be a group that supports teeth. It doesn't matter if that tooth root is a screw or if it is the root that God gave each of us. We want to make sure that the patients are able to smile, that they're able to eat and do the things that they did from a very young age. They don't have to give up. And many times they feel, especially when they get a lower denture, as you mentioned, they go to a different class, but they almost give up if we don't give them a solution. So again, the staging process for us is very important. Let's get a patient to say yes to something, especially on the lower.
And just take that first step. That's the hardest one. And they realize, okay, this works. And then they're on board and they say, I don't want to go down. I don't want to go backwards. And that's what I tell them. I said, you have some teeth. You may not like them. They may be terminal. But at least we have something, and let's build upon that. And I'm not going to allow you to go backwards and say we're going to go fully dentures. We're going to go down to the basement level of care and below what I believe to be standard of care. I can't allow that to take those steps back. So we have to at least look at the overdenture as a minimum, and then we have to look at options from there to expand. And maybe it's 2, and then maybe eventually it's 4, and then maybe eventually we're changing abutments, and maybe it's the FTX, and then maybe one day we put in 2 more implants, and we're going multi-units and fixed porcelain, and that's fine. But at least we're meeting them where they're at, where they're addressing their primary concern. We're not letting them go backwards in care. We're giving them hope and the ability to feel dignified to go through that process, which is a terrifying process, and helping them do it in a way that's still profitable for us. Because when I look at the 2 solutions and someone comes into my office and you look at this is a business, which we all need to. We love fixing people, but you can't do it for free. You won't run your business long if it's bleeding money. So I look at this and say everybody wants to talk about these big full arch fixed cases, and the average fee in the country might be $25,000, but 10 of that might be overhead. So then you're looking at a profitability where you might be looking at 60% profit. And then I look at the overdenture case and say, the average overdenture might be $7,000 in America. And I think, at a cost, you might be, as a dentist, you might be $1,000 in. So you're looking at that, your profitability is way higher. Your level of expertise required isn't as great. The process to get there is smoother and easier. And most patients are still very, very satisfied with the result in the end. So I don't think that we're paying as much attention to it as a community as we should, because maybe it's not as sexy as these cases we see on the podiums of, perfect FP1, fully restored contours. Not many patients can afford that. Not many practitioners can pull that off. And in most people's and in most situations, it's unrealistic. What is realistic is giving somebody hope that they can do at least what will satisfy them emotionally and physiologically and functionally. And I think that's why Zest has made such a big impact, because you can provide life-changing dentistry at a reasonable cost and make a profit and feel good doing it. And that's why I like these cases, because when I get done with these cases, everybody's happy. The patients are happy, my office is making money, and we're doing the right thing. And so that's why I'm a big believer in the product, and that's why we try to do as many as we can in our office.
Well, I'm really glad you brought this up, because I did want to circle back to the clinician side and aspirationally there, because we know a clinician does not want the patient to only offer a solution, a clinical outcome where the patient says no. We want to make sure that the clinicians understand the following. Number one, we've built this $100+ million in annual revenues company by offering the best products through incredible partnerships. So what we're saying is, number one, however you want to use our products, attached to whatever product, we have a solution for you. And I can assure you, our newest product is our FTX, the fixed solution. Yet we know that the fixed solution is for high-end dentistry. It is for a different class than is normally out there around the world. So we truly believe that the fixed is a wonderful solution and that we want to support. There are many other solutions that are exciting for doctors, that are highly profitable for doctors, and some of the best patient experiences in the end. The satisfaction rate for patients with removable overdenture therapy is through the roof. It's so high. The other thing I want to say is we want to be the solutions company to problems as well. We've created a tech services group that is here from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And if there are any questions, no matter the implant that is above it or below it, if it's a locator, we want to be the company that the doctors reach out to when they need to have an answer immediately. Patients in the chair, we want them to think of Zest as the company to contact for what implant is this? Send us an x-ray, text it to us, email it to us, chat that picture to us right online at zestdent.com, and we'll get you an answer within minutes. Call us, describe it, we'll get you an answer within minutes. That's the kind of company we're building.
Yeah, and I want to come back to the patient aspect as well. Is patients live in a dynamic world. The patient that gets the treatment today that will be a removable is the patient that could also afford a fixed in 5 or 10 years. The thing that they don't want to do is lose that bone. They need the bone while they're growing through that. They want the quality of life that we're talking about. And who knows where they're going to be down the road where they can go ahead and move to the next stage of their life and treatment option. And the other thing I wanted to come back to, because you talk about the business of dentistry quite a bit, which is a very important aspect of it. I am certain that if a dentist were to write down their cost, their time, their materials for a implant supported, or a removable overdenture versus a fixed, I'm certain that they actually make more money for their practice in treating the overdenture aspect of it. Yes, the revenue's higher on a fixed case, but there is the higher level of profitability to be able to treat that patient with an overdenture.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's the part that is quietly being missed in a lot of these lectures and a lot of these presentations and a lot of dentistry is it's great that you can charge, but then, you look at your overhead goes up exponentially too. I know in the more fixed cases I do in a month, my lab bills and are through the roof, at times, because it's a higher cost to do business on my end, and really to do overdentures, you're really not changing much what you do, except maybe some implants and the tools that needed to connect the two pieces together, but you're not changing the prosthesis. We were going to do a denture anyway. Now it's just an overdenture. So maybe you add some metal mesh or some reinforcement, but it's not double the fee, and we're, especially if we're talking about the Lodi, we're talking, we can throw 2 Lodi in there for $300-400 and change that person's life. And it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't we do that? Why can't we build that narrative into the story we tell patients from the get-go? Why aren't we building that narrative into, as a dentist, this is the lowest that I can go. I'm going to provide this, and I'm going to drag these patients up to the care with me, because that's my dedication to the field.
Though there's a life cycle, right, of the patient. Yeah. You will install the product. They will get their overdenture. But there is a hygiene aspect. They will come in. The Zest locator performs so well that the patients are going to be so satisfied, but they will come back, right, for repair and maintenance. It just naturally happens, just like you would have a tune-up on your car, get the oil changed or get the tires rotated. Well, the same thing. So that built-in recall program allows the dentist to also see that patient, how are they doing, has their work, their station in life improved? Are they able to now transition from what was originally 2 implants to 4 implants? Are they able to go from 4 to a fixed? That built-in recall is there, and that's the beauty. It allows the dentist to connect with their patient population, to be able to provide the offer the care where they are at in their life, in their life cycle.
And I think it's important to state, we are not advocating that a dentist that is passionate about all on 4, or they're passionate about full arched fixed, to change anything that they're doing. What we're saying is, start with what you're great at and what you're passionate about. Realize, though, what we're hearing, we're out with our customers all the time. Large DSO practices, large group practices, labs. When we hear that 9 out of 10 say no to that solution or any solution, then we're offering alternatives to the thing that you're most passionate about. So then the next thing you may be most passionate about is, okay, if they're not going to go with the fixed, at least let's do a removable on implants. Okay, if the patient is saying to that, the next thing you may be passionate about as a clinician is, let's get them something on the lower. Can we save 2 roots? And can we put the locator, the locator root attachment in, knowing that we're going to explain to the patient, hey, this might last for 6 months and it might last for a year, but in the end, we're going to have to be putting implants in because all of your teeth are compromised. So we're not asking, hey, change your passion and go the full opposite. Just know that there are options out there to get the patient to say yes to something that will greatly improve their lives.
Yeah. And we talked about that before. It's kind of like, I try to meet the patients where they're at when they come into my office, and everybody comes in a different scenario. Money is a story we tell ourselves. People find money for things they want and desire and value, and that make them feel good, that make them have fun, so I look at money as a story that we tell ourselves is how we spend it. And I also look at figuring out emotionally where that patient's at. Okay, well, what are their desires when they come in an office? What is driving them to come in? Is it pain? Is it fear of losing a part of them? Is it the emotional distress of being socially isolated? Is it are they connecting with loved ones? Are their grandkids getting old enough they're seeing their teeth and, Grandma, why are your teeth bad? Why do they sit on the table? I mean, those are emotional aspects that I connect with patients. And then I try to provide them answers to those solutions. And those answers are going to be different per person, per scenario, per anatomical limitation or structure that they bring, per emotional limitation or mindset, and then different financial monthly budgets that we try to structure them. So being able to provide multiple solutions for people when they come in that fits all of those, I think is why my practice has been able to be successful at what we do. And I think that's the implant center in a box. They're not wrapped around that concept. They say, well, we make cheeseburgers and here's how much they cost. And it's like, well, that may work for some people, it might not work for all. So I think we need to be able to provide solutions that work for people and that get them where they want to be and have multiple options to get there and have a way to strategize it and stage it in a way that meets them where they're at now and gets them where they want to be, knowing that everything changes as flux. And a year from now and 2 years from now, it's different. I've had patients I did overdentures on, and we've come back and unfixed on. I've done lots of. I don't rarely go backwards, but I have had some cases where I've taken off the fix and we've gone back to a different overdenture scenario because they need the lip support. They need the facial structure of that phalange. Porcelain wasn't working for them. They couldn't clean under it. Rare that that's the case, but I'm not here to tell patients what's right or wrong. I'm here to tell them what's possible and provide them solutions to do. And I think Zest has really embraced that. We don't care how you do it. We're here to help you get there.
Yeah, and then we talk about, we spend a lot of time talking about overdenture therapy and the benefits to the patient. And it could almost be an afterthought that, of course, you use a locator because it literally is the industry. Yeah. Right? That is the industry standard. It is the gold standard. And the reason for that, though, is the product performs. Mm-hmm. It works. It does what the doctor needs to do and what the patient wants to do. Mm-hmm. And that didn't just happen, right? It is proven. We've sold over 8 million of these. Yeah. We have over 3 million patients that have this been treated with the locator, and the reason that it's the gold standard is the product works. Mm-hmm. And so that is something that the dentist needs to understand, that it isn't just Kleenex. It is the Zest locator. Yeah. It performs for a reason, and they need to make sure that they're getting that because that's the product that they want and that's what the patients need.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to add, we feel very strongly that a lot of this needs to be on us as an organization. We're large enough to get this message out. We believe that we as a group are doing a disservice to dentists if we don't give the tools, not just the products, but the tools to get the patient to say yes to a treatment that we know will help them change their lives. If we don't give you the tools to do that, then it really, truly is that disservice. We feel very strongly about it. And so that's why we get into these types of meetings. And the meeting that we had last night with you and the meeting we're having here today, I think it's important to understand that this is the heartbeat of our organization, to create the products and the tools and the marketing and the recall planning process and the staging process within implant dentistry, but within dentistry as a whole. We just want to make sure that the doctors understand that there are more solutions that can meet the passion of the patients. The other side I want to talk about is what you just described on how you in your clinic, Dr. Gordon, get patients to understand patients and what's important to them. We need to offer those tools as well. We often in a group, we talk about 3 bank accounts that most of us have. And they're the emotional bank account. You talked about that. They're the ego bank account. And then there's the financial bank account. Look, within 1 minute of talking to a patient, we can find out what is the most important thing. You talked about it might be passion. They might be afraid that they may lose a spouse or a significant other if they lose all of their teeth. That means their emotional bank account is far more important to them than what the cost of the procedure is going to be. Now, another one may be afraid that they're going to lose their job, or they may lose a promotion. You know that their ego bank account is very, very high, and you need to make sure you hone in on that. Find out what they need. So we want to make sure that we provide these tools that give the answers and to know what questions to ask the patients to identify very quickly what is the most important bank account for that person. And if it's financial, we often think that that's the only bank account that's important to them. If it's financial, then we have solutions for you to the patient.
And I've had patients in my practice that meet all those. And it's, it could be the little old lady who tells me, my husband doesn't know I wear a denture. Yeah. This can't come out. Yeah. This has to stay in. Yeah. This has to work. Okay. And then you'll have people who are maybe already lost their teeth and saying, I'm just trying to get a job. I can't walk around like this. I look like such and such. They'll use terms, and it's like, I could see how that could compromise you putting your best smile forward, your best foot forward. You can't walk into a job interview and smile and have, a jack-o'-lantern mouth. You can't do that if you're going to put your best foot forward. And then, obviously the cost is real. That's probably the biggest limiting factor, but there's ways around that too. And so we just have to get creative. We have to dig in with patients, and we have to get real, and we have to work at it. But I think, the first part is just, recognizing the issue, and the second part is, digging into those solutions and seeing what's out there. So, what is it moving forward that you guys want people to know about Zest Dental Solutions? It's 2019, we've got what maybe a quarter left, and then 2020. What's on the horizon moving forward that you say that this is where we're headed, and this is why you should come with us?
Well, first off, we want to make sure that the market is fully aware about Zest Dental and the products that we provide. That isn't an afterthought. And we want to make sure that we are meeting the doctors where they are. Wherever they are in their practice, that they are aware that they can provide the solutions to their patients from that. And as we continue to look to the future, we want to make sure that our products are relevant to how they want to practice, whether it's traditionally with the analog or the digital, whether they are looking at narrow ridge or standard ridge solutions, whether they are doing removable or they're doing fixed. That they come to us as the market leader, that we are their trusted source to help them understand how that they can get to where they want to go in their practice. And ultimately that means being able to treat the patients that they work with.
Well, and I'll add to what David said. We have a passion for implant therapy as well. I want that to be very clear. But we have a relationship with these very large and not so large dental implant partners that we have. It's important for us to get the message across that it doesn't matter how you want to purchase our products. It doesn't matter if it's through an implant manufacturer, if it's through a distributor, or from us direct. We want to make sure we're there to support the dentist, our implant manufacturing partners, our distributor partners. Any way is fine with us. And we want to make sure that those lines of communication coming back to us is important, especially on the technical side of the business. We want to be the technical solution for overdenture therapy for clinicians. And quite frankly, we just received this week a call from a major implant company that said that we've become the tech services group to call on anything to do with overdenture therapy. So this is a top 3 dental implant company that has given us this feedback, which was very much appreciated. We just created this tech services group within the last 6 months with industry veterans, by the way. So I think going in the future, the other thing is we believe we can identify what support is and what good looks like in support, because we believe that we can get you an answer in less than 5 minutes to darn near any problem that you are facing, especially with a patient in the chair. You can video conference us, telephone, text, chat, call us, and we will have a solution for you.
And that's why I like about, with the name of the company, it's, Zest Dental Solutions. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't an afterthought. I mean, I'm sure the solutions part's on there because that's what people want. I mean, it's like, don't give me another problem, right? Just give me a solution. I tell my staff that all the time. It's like, don't come up to me with another problem. Come up to me when you have a solution. And that's a powerful thing, because if you can identify a problem in the field, if you can find a solution for it, and if you can find a way to make it amicable for both parties, that's what business and life's all about. And that's what my passion is, implant dentistry. So yes, I love surgery, and yes, I love, putting screws in people's heads, but it's about providing a solution for people that they didn't have before. And I think that's what you guys are trying to do for us as dentists, is take care of and say, look, we want to be your solutions provider. And I think that's great, because you're speaking to the core of a higher calling. And I think that's why you're a leader, and I think that's why you're going to continue to lead. So, any last comments you guys want to close with? I know we've wrapped up about amount of time as we've promised here. So, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you guys as far as the company? I know the website's probably the way to go, and/or how are people getting a hold of Zest?
First of all, thank you for being here and coming out from Kansas City. We really appreciate seeing you again and spending time with you over these last 2 days. Secondly, the best way to reach us is really through our website, because you can chat immediately with somebody on that, zestdent.com. But also, you can always reach out to me via email. It's first name dot last name at zestdent.com. So tom.stratten at zestdent.com, and you have david.painter at zestdent.com. Look, we're hands-on people, and we want to make sure that we're available to doctors that have questions for us. So we're just excited about the future here.
David, any last pearls of wisdom here?
No, I can't really add much more than the fact that we do want to partner with dentists. Yeah. That's what we do. We're passionate about helping dentists treat the patients that they serve. Right. And as Tom said, we want to be a resource. We want to meet their needs, and service them and support them how they want it, when they want it. That's when they start thinking about how they're going to deal with patients as they are going down that progression, that pathway that we know that they're going to be losing their teeth. We want to be their trusted resource. Yeah.
Well, and lastly, a good way to get a hold of us is come by the booth. We'll be found. A lot of times we're in meetings, but we're at the we're at the ADA, the AAID, we're at the AMOS AAP, the Amos Implant Company, the European Academy of Osseointegration meeting. That's just in the next 3 months. So we are available. We may be in listening to lectures. We may be in partner meetings. But if you stop by and ask for either one of us, we'll make sure we find you. Give their mobile number. We'll text you and we'll get together.
Perfect. Guys, appreciate your time today, as always. It's been a real pleasure to be here at the headquarters, and looking forward to the manufacturing tour next. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon.